Hey, what is up, everybody? Patrick here. Hope everybody's having a good day. I want to do a little different of a video than I normally do, and kind of hyper focus in on a certain topic. This is going to be more of a beginner's video, but there's some knowledge I'm sure that everybody at every skill level could maybe learn something from, hopefully. But the topic of this video is, what is a burr? And I want to basically go into what a burr is, why do you need it, how do you get it, and then how do you get rid of it. And what I'm going to start is, what is a burr? A burr is when you're sharpening on a knife specifically. If I'm sharpening on this top side like this here, right? Once I get down to the apex, that metal is going to fold over to the underneath side to where I can feel it under here. So, and I'm going to show you, use my high-tech software right here to show you what we're doing on a microscopic level. So, if this is your knife right here on a microscopic level, that's the edge where it's been used and dulled and whatnot. When you're sharpening, what you're doing effectively is you're removing this material until you get an apex here, and on this side, same thing. You're moving material till you get that apex, which is that nice, crisp, sharp edge right there. So when you're sharpening on this side, whether it be freehand, on a system, I'm focusing mostly on guided systems, but the knowledge is going to be the same. When you're sharpening on this side, you're sharpening, it's going to create a little bit of a hook like this. You're sharpening on this side, and it's going to roll that edge over on a microscopic level. That right there is the burr. And the reason we need this, and you need it on both sides, is to show and to tell yourself that you fully apexed and got all of that rounded, damaged apex off. You fully got down to the very, very point of that edge on both sides. And then once you clean and remove that burr, you'll have a screaming sharp edge. And same thing would be on this side, as if you were sharpening, you're going to roll it to that side. So when sharpening, you have to get a burr on both sides. And what I recommend doing, especially if it's a knife you've never sharpened before, or if it's extremely damaged, or maybe you're changing the angle drastically, is don't work the first side till you get a burr completely. Because what you're going to do is you're going to make your bevel uneven, because once you've burred that first side, the second side over here is going to burr a lot faster. And what I mean by that is, like, if this is the shoulders of your knife, you may have something like that where you've worked this side, till you get a burr. This side's going to burr quick, and then you're going to have a asymmetrical bevel. So you always want to work them evenly on each side. That way you can have your nice symmetrical bevel. So got a little bit of notes over here so I can kind of stay on topic. Next is of course, why do we need it? I've already went over that, that you have to have the burr on each side. That way that you've fully apexed it. You can't just solely go off of the Sharpie trick. The Sharpie trick's great. That helps you find your angle. I've already found the angle on this to save time. Now I do a little bit of work. As you can see, that Sharpie is all gone, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I've fully apexed this knife. And I've seen that before, that I've had guys ask me, I don't know why I'm not getting sharp. All the Sharpie's gone. I'm not getting a burr. And that's because you haven't fully apexed that side of the knife. If you would look at it with either a microscope or maybe one of those little jeweler's loops or something like that, I bet that if you look at it, you're going to see a little bit of Sharpie left. Like, let's say that this here is the edge bevel of the knife. Like, yeah, it goes up here to a point, whatever. This is the edge bevel. You've sharpened, and then you don't see by the naked eye all the Sharpie, but I guarantee you if you were to magnify that little bit towards the very apex down here, hasn't been hit, but you just can't see it from your naked eye. So that's why it's so important to get that burr, is that is a physical telltale sign that, hey, I have apexed this knife and now I can get it sharp. It is probably the most crucial step when sharpening to get that burr. If you don't get the burr, doesn't matter how many stones, drops, or otherwise that you go through, you're not going to be sharp at the end. So I'm going to show you essentially how you're getting the burr. If we're sharpening, we've found our angle, all that good stuff. I'm doing my strokes here. And I've got the 140 grit stone in here just to make this a little bit more expedient. I match the angle. I always recommend matching the angle. Trying it out. If it works good, keep that. If it's damages too quickly, of course you can raise your edge, or if it doesn't slice well enough, then you can lower it, but I always try to match. So I've done my work here. All of my Sharpie is gone. I'm going to flip. Now, I always take the side of my fingernail like this to fill. You can use a Sharpie cap like this. You see how that wants to grab? I don't know if you can hear that. Let's see if we can get that in there to hear that. Anyways, you can use a Sharpie. I've seen guys use the back end of a lighter. Q-tip works because it'll grab that cotton a little bit. I always just use the side of my nail like this. You can use your thumb. Sometimes it's a little harder. I have a burr all the way across. Let me see. I may need to take that Sharpie off. Let me take the Sharpie off, and then I'll flip to the other side and show you guys if it'll come up to exactly what you're looking for. But I decided to do this video because, like I said, I've gotten a lot of questions, especially over the years and whatnot, of, you know, I've went through all 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stones, all these strops, whatever, and I'm not sharp. And most of the time it ends up that they just haven't fully apexed. So let's flip this over. Now let's see if I can show you guys that burr. You see that faint white line right next to the very edge here, all the way across there? You can see it up to the tip. That really faint line there. There you go. I can see it really good. That little white line towards the edge, that is that burr. See those little pieces of nail? That's showing me that I've got a burr hill to tip. That is what you're looking for. Now, you don't need a giant burr. You just need a burr. The more, or the larger you make that burr, the more steel that you're removing needlessly. And you don't have to do that. So, I've got a burr from that side. Of course, I'm going to have a burr on this side. And like I said, you want to work evenly. This knife has already been sharpened and profiled on a KME, and I'm matching the angle. That's why I got the burr immediately. But hopefully the knowledge portion, you can use that even on a sharpening that you're having to even out. So, and I've got a burr on that side too, and you can see that nice burr right there. So I've got a burr on both sides, right? That's what we want. We want that on the first stone. Okay, I see a lot of guys when they're sharpening that they want to tell you guys on either YouTube or this or that you have to have a burr on every stone and all this other stuff, and that's just not true. You only need the burr on the first stone on both sides. Then you fully apex that knife. You've brought those edges to get that fine point. You fully apexed it. Your sharpening is essentially done on the very first stone. Okay? Any subsequent stone, strop, film, what have you, after that very first stone is refinement. Okay? If you're not sharp on the first stone, do not move on to any other stone, strop, or anything after that point. You need to focus on getting sharp on that first stone. Okay? So now that we've got the burr on both sides, how do we get rid of it? Okay? So when you're sharpening, we're doing these scrub strokes back and forth, almost like a sawing motion. Okay? The best way is what we call into the edge push strokes or finishing strokes, meaning that you set your stone down, push, lift up, set it down, push, lift up, set it down, push. You can do one solid stroke the whole way across, but you want that into the edge push stroke, and it's going to help shear that burr off. When doing burr removal, you want to use light pressure. Right now I'm using the weight of the stone carrier. I'm just doing those into the edge push strokes, lift up. You can do it, I prefer to do it in sections. It just seems more comfortable. And there's a lot of guys that, you know, they'll say, okay, you know, I'll do 10 strokes on this side and 10 and 5 and 5, 3, 3, and then 1, 1, 1, 1 all the way down. You can do that, but it's not that complicated. Okay. If that's what works for you, by all means, jam out and you know, get it done. But the way I do it is by feel. If there was a burr on this side and I go to push that stone in like this, it's going to almost feel like it's grabbing this stone, like there's going to be resistance. Well, as soon as I do a couple strokes, it smooths out, almost glasses out. That lets you know, hey, that burr's gone on this side. And what you've done is you flipped it over here. And, you know, basically you're flipping that burr back and forth, and using lighter and lighter pressure the whole time till it's gone. So I'm going to show you guys. I'm not even using the weight of the stone carrier right now. Do one on each side. Like I said, you want to kind of do the same amount of work on each side. Doesn't have to be exact. I don't know if the sound's coming through, but in person, you'll notice a different sound. I'm gonna do one more each side. Kissing the edge is what I call. Super light. Okay. That burr is essentially gone. It's very, very microscopic. The way that you would want to get rid of it fully is by using a strop. Like, let's say I went through all the grits. Normally in my EDC knives, I go from the 140 to the 300 to the 16 or to the 600 grit diamond, and then I'll strop with the 6 micron. That's normally what I use. But what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you guys just how sharp this is straight off the stone. Let me see if I can turn that to not block you guys' view. So it's 140 grit stone. And any of you guys that have seen me at Blade Show, this is my absolute favorite like demo to do, just to show, because you know a lot of guys say you have to be super high in grits and you know all these strops and different things to be sharp, and that's just not the case. So let me remove the knife. All right, I'm going to get a little bit of rubbing alcohol, if I can find some. I do not see any, so I'm just going to wipe this off to get off that still particulate. I'll show you guys the edge. See how clean that hill is. KME does a phenomenal job on these Spydercos. It's pretty coarse. All right, let's do ye old shave test. As you can see, it's super sharp. And this, I don't know if you can tell, it's K390. It's not a super hard steel to sharpen, but it's considered a super steel, high wear resistant steel. It's a very carbide rich steel. But anyways, let's try one other. As you can see, that is super sharp. Straight off the 140 grit, you know, like I showed you guys. Straight off that 140 grit. No stropping. You can strop. Of course, I would always recommend it, but I just wanted to show you guys that it's not required. The most crucial step is getting that burr on each side, getting rid of that burr, and then you'll have your sharp edge. Like I said, mainly focus on getting that burr on just the first stone. After that, you're just refining. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, just let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, y'all have a good one.